up on BG24 Sports, baseball continued to struggle as they took on Ball State this weekend. What will it take for the team to rebound?
Plus, March Madness is in full swing. We'll look at a few of the upsets from the weekend.
And we'll also go over what to expect for the Sweet 16. All this and more coming up right here on BG24 Sports.
You won't get anywhere else. This is BG24 Sports.
Welcome to BG24 Sports. I'm Katie Wernke.
And I'm Terry Lash.
Baseball took on Ball State this weekend, opening MAC play. The Falcons dropped Friday's game and Game 1 of the doubleheader Saturday. Ball State was up in the third inning for Game 2 until the fourth inning when Trey Keegan hit a long one over the left field wall for a home run. This cut the Falcons' deficit in half, 1-2. This was Keegan's only hit of the game, but the Falcons would score again to tie it in the seventh inning. But then in the eighth inning, Cardinals are back with a Zach Plesac single to right field. The Cardinals take the lead 3-2, and it leaves runners on first and second. Next batter up, Colin Brockhouse hits it just over the head of Jesse Raitt, bringing two runners in. He makes it to third as Ball State takes the win 5-2.
We buy into the team concept and start executing like we're taught to execute. We're going to continue to struggle. So, but yeah, that definitely showed up, and you saw how Ball State played, and they executed, got big hits, and really worked the counts and everything. But yeah, we definitely need to get better. We have to score more runs than what we've been scoring.
We didn't really execute well at all three phases of the game. Hitting wise, we didn't get the bunts down, hitting runs, squeezes even when we had a chance to get a run across. So that definitely hurt our production today, and we definitely had a lot of chances we didn't capitalize.
Now, Terry, it was a rough weekend for the Falcons. They ended up 0-3 on the weekend. There was an 18-3 run difference. Ball State had 18 runs this weekend. Bowling Green only had 3 runs.
Yeah, looking a further breakdown of the stats, 3 for 29 as a team on the plate on Friday, 4 for 29 on the first game on Saturday, a little bit better 10 for 34 in the third game, but still overall just absolutely anemic offensive performance from the Falcons.
Absolutely, only 17 hits. They went through 7 pitchers, which is not bad comparatively for 3 games, only having 7 pitchers.
But those pitchers did not have the greatest performance on Friday. We saw earned runs from Andrew Lasinik, David Doherty, and Jason Link on Saturday also gave up 3 runs himself.
Absolutely. Link started for Game 1. He had 3 earned runs. Tony Landy came in next. He gave up 3 earned runs. And then we go to Game 2. Zach Carey starts. He gives up 2. And then Trevor Blaylock comes in. He gives up 3. So this is really pushing up this team's ERA when it's really not that good to begin with. Also,
you have to talk about only 13 strikeouts over the entire weekend for the entire pitching staff. That's 3 games, 13 strikeouts, just 4 1/3 per game. You cannot have that few strikeouts if you expect to win games, Katie.
Absolutely not. Zach Carey was the only one who did not have a strikeout. But if we look at Zach Carey, Andrew Lasinik, Jason Link, they all have over a 5.5 ERA on the season, which is it's not good. Not good.
It's been very bad pitching-wise. It also has been great from the plate this season. 15 left on base. I think that is a huge stat for the Falcon team because you have those players in scoring positions and you're not bringing them home. They're not going to have some of these losses if you make it closer games, but those runs, they're being left stranded out on the diamond.
Absolutely. They had 19 strikeouts, like we said, 3 for 29 on Friday. It's really not good. Only 3 runs. Trey Keegan, who was one of their top hitters, he was only 2 for 11 this weekend.
Yeah, if we go back to before Wednesday's loss at Youngstown State, he was batting .380. Still batting .338, which is great for his season total, but it is not even close to what he was batting. He dropped over 42 points over the weekend, and from the guy you count on to get some hits, to get on base, they just didn't have it this weekend.
Absolutely. He did have that 1 home run, but that's not enough when you're down 2 or 3 runs in a game, and that's the only run that you can get. Another hitter that we're used to seeing is Greg Basalaga, and he went 3 for 10 on the weekend. And then Randy Ryder, who's the 4th best hitter on the team, he was 0 for 11 this weekend. So not a lot from these hitters.
You're right, the top of the line. And all season long, we just haven't seen Brian Bean. It seems like he's just disappeared from his last 2 breakout seasons. There's a lot of players for the Falcons that need to step up. Brandon Howard to start the lineup, and they just aren't up to mid-season form quite yet.
Absolutely. It's a younger team, so they are going to be needing to rely on this leadership.
You're right.
Looking forward to the season. But when we come back, it's more from the Diamond. Baseball is getting ready to take on Michigan. We'll go over how they can get back on track against the Wolverines.
And now welcome back. And baseball has struggled so far this season. Going on for what we talked about earlier, 15 runners left on base, and this weekend it was really bad. You had 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 9 on the second game on Saturday, Katie.
It absolutely, it was a very rough weekend for Bowling Green. They've hit into double plays. They're not stopping the run. Ball State had 18 runs this weekend, 19 strikeouts for Ball State. Brandon Howard struck out 4 times for the Falcons this season. A lot of strikeouts.
And that's terrible for the guy that's starting your lineup. He's the guy you want to get on base. Came into the week with 10 stolen bases. That's the guy you want scoring all your runs. The team's leading scorer for last year. And also defensively, they've been struggled. 5 errors on the weekend, and they just haven't been able to close out games, Katie.
No, they definitely have not. If we take a look at their last 10 games, they're on a 7-game losing streak. They haven't won since early March.
And they've given up at least 5 runs in their last 8 games, going back to that victory at Butler where they gave up 14 runs in that 16-14 win. It's just the pitching hasn't been there, and where the hitting was, it seems like when they came up north and the temperature dropped, so did their batting averages.
Very punny, Terry. Now, if we take a look at the Russ Matt Invitational as well, they went 2 for 3 during then, and then starting MAC play, 0 for 3 so far. They have 8 more MAC teams coming up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was not a good showing against Ball State Cardinals, but they were picked to finish first, so maybe against some of these other lesser MAC teams, put up a better effort.
Absolutely, but let's take a listen and see what Danny Schmitz has to say about turning things around against Michigan.
You know, baseball's a funny game, and right now it's not going our way, but you have to make your own luck, and the way you're going to do that is by keep working hard, okay, you know, keep, you know, executing. That's what you have to do, and you have to buy into things, and, you know, the leadership is going to be extremely important now, you know, especially from our upperclassmen, because this is a young team. You know, we got to make sure that, that they're leading the correct way.
And looking at some of the schedules coming up ahead, Michigan this week, going up to the Big House into Ann Arbor to take on the Blue. And it seems like that's the team that Bowling Green has struggled with these last few seasons.
Absolutely. Then they take on Northern Illinois at Northern. They're 11-11 on this season so far. They're second in the MAC, or not second in the MAC, pardon. Miami is second in the MAC. They'll take on Miami, one of their next home series coming up. And it's still early on in MAC standings, so when we say second in the MAC, you know, maybe not second in the MAC for long, but right now they're still second in the MAC. It's a tough season for the Falcons looking ahead if they continue to play this way.
Well, what we talked about earlier, they're a very youthful team. Only 5 seniors on the club. Is going to take some time. This might be like 2 seasons ago where the team just didn't find themselves in the regular season, but once they got to the MAC tournament, they made that great run, made the NCAA tournament. We'll see if those younger guys finally step up and take like the positions that they need.
Absolutely. They had barely made that MAC tournament 2 years ago, like you had said, struggled during the regular season, and then they come out for postseason play. So maybe that's what we'll see this year. Maybe the youth just needs to get used to playing. And, you know, Bowling Green has some tough weather conditions. It's not exactly warm outside right now. So maybe it's the youth who's just getting used to playing college ball still.
And it won't be warm in Michigan either as the Falcons travel up that way. 5-13 on the season. Falcons struggling. Trey Keegan, we mentioned, .338 batting average. Not the greatest season for Michigan overall either. 11-11 on the year. Also on a 4-game losing streak. This is going to be 2 teams, Katie, that are trying to break those losing streaks.
Absolutely. And Jackson Glines leads Michigan in hitting with a .472 batting average. But if you look at the average ERAs for Michigan and Bowling Green, the average ERAs amongst all pitchers for Michigan is just .396, where Bowling Green's is .544. Now that may not seem like a big difference, but when this Bowling Green team is not hitting that well, that ERA is going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting contest. Hopefully the Falcons can go up north and get the victory. But when we come back, March Madness is in full swing. We'll try to break down all of the insanity that happened this weekend. Stay with us.
And welcome back. March Madness, as in its usual form, bringing the upsets going into the Sweet 16. If we take a look at the matchups now after this weekend, we have UK, West Virginia, Wisconsin, UNC, some very good matchups up there.
So it was a great weekend of basketball. This is the best time of the year. It's like my second Christmas. But one of my favorite ones that we saw was the Wichita State victory over Kansas. A little in-state rivalry. The little guys getting over on the big guys. Now with a nice matchup against Notre Dame in the Sweet 16.
Absolutely. We also saw Michigan State over Virginia. Another run. Michigan State battling Oklahoma. That should be a very good game as well. Oklahoma's been on a roll so far. They're just really good matchups. NC State had another win. They're battling Louisville. We have Duke and Utah as well.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Utah has looked really good. That victory against Georgetown was very convincing. That sets up a big battle with Duke, but I don't know if you can pick against Jahlil Okafor. He's been just phenomenal in this tournament.
Absolutely. We have Arizona and Xavier as well. Xavier has really come out in this tournament, winning in the first round, taking down Georgia State then in the second round as well. And now they're battling the Wildcats. Do you think the Musketeers can have a shot against the Wildcats?
I don't. I think Arizona is playing as one of the top 3 teams in the entire country right now. They just dismantled Ohio State team. They made D'Angelo Russell one of the best players in the whole country look like a scrub. I think this is a team that has a really legitimate shot at about taking down undefeated Kentucky.
Okay, wow, making some bold predictions.
I'm not saying they're going to, but I think they do have a shot.
Okay, all right. Well, if we, what can we expect, do you think, coming up in this, in this Sweet 16?
Well, of course, everyone's going to be looking at the game between Kentucky and West Virginia. Whenever you have a team that is going 36-0 for the first time in the history of the sport, all eyes are going to be on the Wildcats. Let's look at West Virginia. We have 25-9 record. They are number 4 seed, and average points per game is 73.6, but you have to remember, this is a Kentucky defense that is only averaging about 53 points per game given up. It is going to be very hard for the Mountaineers to score in the Wildcats.
Absolutely. West Virginia, they did defeat a 4 seed in Maryland, though, so they have had possibly a tougher road coming into the Sweet 16, maybe, since they did take down some higher seeds that were closer to them. UK, we saw in the first half against Hampton, they sort of struggled, and then against Cincinnati, they also had some struggles. Cincinnati kept up with them in the first half, but UK is a powerhouse team. I've said it before, it's almost like the Toon Squad going up against the Monstars, anyone who takes on UK. UK really is a powerhouse. They have Aaron Harrison, who's averaging 11.1 points per game. It's going to be a good matchup.
It's just the depth of the Kentucky Wildcats. They have 9 players deep, all of which can probably be on NBA rosters after this season. It's really insane what Coach Calipari has done with this team in just such a short amount of time, considering the majority of these players, 8 of the 9 in their rotation, are underclassmen. Absolutely.
If we look at the Harrison twins as well, Aaron Harrison, he's 779 free throw percentage. He's almost at 40% for field goals. And then his twin, Andrew Harrison, is almost at 40% for three-pointers. So the Harrison twins are a duo to mess with.
Yeah, Jay Williams on ESPN said it today the best. You don't know how to take down the Kentucky Wildcats. There is no blueprint for it, as we've seen with 0 losses on the season. This is unprecedented. This is a historic season that we've never seen before. We might not see again for a long time. It's been over about 40 years since the last undefeated season. Kentucky has a very realistic shot of pulling it off.
Absolutely. They have a 13.5. They're 13.5-point favorites over West Virginia. And now some have said that even if UK makes it to the national title game, if they lose, it's a disappointing season.
But there is one team that a lot of people are thinking could give UK a shot, and that would be the next round against Notre Dame. Notre Dame and Wichita State are playing this weekend. Notre Dame 31-5 on this season. We saw them beat both Duke and North Carolina in the ACC tournament. They've played some of the top competition. They beat Duke twice, who many believe are the second best team in the country right now. If there's one team that could give UK a shot in this bracket, it might be Notre Dame.
Absolutely, but Notre Dame has to get past Wichita State, and we've seen Wichita State in last year's tournament, and they're sort of the underdog that just keeps on going. So
you don't bet against them.
Absolutely. I guess we'll have to find out. But now after the break, it is Hot or Not this week, including March Madness baseball and a little NASCAR. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's time for a little game called Hot or Not. Terry and I have a topic, and we give you our opinions on whether they are
hot
or not. This week we have topics all the way from March Madness to NASCAR. But first, we are going to get started right here in Bowling Green with baseball. The Bowling Green pitchers, hot or not, Terry?
They're not. They're not at all, Katie. This weekend we saw it. It was absolutely atrocious. 4 losses last week, including 3 to MAC rival Ball State. Only 13 strikeouts over that 3-game stretch. They are not.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to have to go with not. The Bowling Green pitchers, like you said, not the strongest track record so far. They're on a 7-game losing streak. They've given up a lot of late runs. In the doubleheader on Saturday, we saw that they both had they'd given up 3 runs in the 8th inning. So not a lot coming from these Bowling Green pitchers. But we're going to move on now to the Big Ten. This time it's Big Ten in the NCAA tournament. Are they hot or not?
They are hot, Katie. The Big Ten, I'm going to say it's hot for 2 reasons. That will be Michigan State and Wisconsin. Both have legitimate threats to make the Final Four, maybe make a push for the national championship. Never bet against Tom Izzo in March.
You know, I'm going to go with not, just for the fact that they started with 7 teams in this tournament and they have 2 left. And if you look at the ACC, they started with 6. They have 5 left. You look at the Pac-12, who started with 4. They have 3 left. So in comparison with how many teams that the Big Ten had in this tournament and how many teams they have left, I'm going to go with not hot. Sort of like the Big 12. They've lost a lot of their teams in this tournament so far. Teams that you expected might have the potential to go far. So not hot, Terry.
Still hot.
Not hot. All right. Now next on the list is the NCAA top seeds. The 1 seeds and the 2 seeds. Hot or not?
Hot, Katie, and they are hot, and you cannot say that because they have Kentucky. They have the hottest team in the history of college sports right now. 36 straight victories for the Kentucky Wildcats. They don't even look contested. We saw some upsets. We saw NC State over Villanova, but there's just too many top teams, and I expect when we get to the Final Four, it's going to be those top seeds there.
I've got to go with not hot. You've seen Wichita State, who took down number 2 Kansas, NC State over number 1 Villanova, and then Michigan State over number 2 Virginia. You only have 3 number 1s left, 2 number 2s left. Almost half of the teams that are top seeds are gone.
Balderdash.
Okay. You go ahead with your hot, Terry. Now, Jeff Gordon, moving on over to NASCAR. Hot or not?
Not. Jeff Gordon is not hot, and here's why. People have Derek Jeter syndrome. It's his last season. He's going to want the historic fairy tale ending where he comes back and wins the title. It's not happening. We don't even know if he's going to make the chase. 22 in the standings right now, only 2 top 10 finishes on the year, 113 points behind the leader. Not hot.
Now, Terry, I've got to go with hot. Jeff Gordon is definitely hot. He, like you said, no wins yet, but those 2 top 10 finishes have been in the past 2 weeks. The beginning of the season didn't start out as well for him, but it wasn't his fault. We saw in the Quick Trip 500, he finished 42nd, but he was in a wreck caused by Denny Hamlin. In the Cobalt 400, he was poised to win the pole position, but then in practice, Danica Patrick ended up wrecking him. So it's not necessarily his fault. He started 43rd in that Cobalt 400, and he moved all the way up to 18th. So 25 spots in 1 race is pretty good. Those top 10 finishes, 2 of them have come in the past 2 weekends. So he's moving up there. He's not cold. He's hot.
I think there's a lot of excuses there, Katie.
Okay. Well, we'll agree to disagree, Terry. Now, when we come back, we'll have our picks of the week for Falcon Sports. Keep it right here. Welcome back. We have 4 games this week to give you our picks of the week. We have March Madness and then BG Baseball. So what makes it better than putting a little friendly competition into this
Nothing.
picks
You
as
need
well?
the competition.
You absolutely do. We have my picks, Terry's picks, and Studio Crew's picks for each game. Each week we keep track of our records, and after last week, I am right up there tied with Terry at 7-5. Terry also has 7-5 record, and Studio Crew, they're at the bottom with a 5-7 record. They need to work on their picks a little bit. Maybe they can get it this week, but we start out first with Bowling Green Baseball. They take on Michigan this weekend. I am going to go with Bowling Green. They're on a 7-game losing streak. They need to turn things around. Michigan might just be the team to do so. Michigan is 11-11 on the season, so not the greatest season, but not the worst season, but a good team for Bowling Green to possibly beat.
I'm going to go with the Wolverines. Michigan on a 4-game losing stretch themselves, also looking to turn around. We just haven't had the pitching or hitting the Falcons need to take down a Big Ten opponent.
All right, Studio Crew is also going with Bowling Green. They're going to pick the Falcons for this one. Now the rest of these picks are March Madness, because who doesn't love March Madness? So our first pick, UK and West Virginia. I have got to go with Kentucky.
Yes.
You cannot stop these Harrison twins. You have just so many potential NBA players on this team. Some people are even talking about this UK team being able to take down, maybe make the playoffs in the NBAs.
Yeah,
with the talent
I got the
that they have.
Wildcats as well. They're just unstoppable right now.
Absolutely. The studio crew, though, they're picking against us. They are going with West Virginia. So we'll see if they're right on that one. Maybe they can upset the Wildcats. But now, Wisconsin and UNC. I have got to go with the Tar Heels. I think the Tar Heels are going to upset Wisconsin and take down the #1 seed.
I got the Badgers. I'm saying it. Big Ten hot, going to ride all the way to the Elite Eight.
All right, studio crew is also going with Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I think they think the Badgers are going to take it as well. Now the next game, Oklahoma or Michigan State. I have got to go with Oklahoma. You got to go with the Sooners. I think they're going to take down Michigan State. The Spartans' ride is going to end here.
Absolutely not. Tom Izzo in March. You cannot stop him. He is a mastermind. You got to go with Michigan State, another Big Ten team making the Elite Eight.
All right, studio crew is also going on my side. They're going to pick Oklahoma. Maybe they're going to go with me, since I seem to be catching up to you with the record
Catching up,
here.
have not passed yet, though, Katie. After this week,
But I'm
I
caught
expect
up.
to see Terry Lash back at the top of those rankings.
I don't know, Terry. I think I'll catch up to you this week. I do think Oklahoma has the potential to take down Michigan State. Michigan State has had a good ride from the Big Ten tournament into March Madness, but I think Oklahoma is just too strong.
There's
for
just
the
so
Spartans.
many great games this week, and I cannot wait to see some more basketball action.
Absolutely. But that is all for BG24 Sports today. Follow us on Twitter at BG24 Sports Now for breaking scores and news, and follow us on Instagram at BG24 Sports.
Plus, check out our website at bg24news.org for more videos. I'm Terry Lash.
And I'm Katie Wernke. Have a great night.